We talked a little bit about Miriam, Yocheved, and Batya. There are many other women in our history, whether it's Sarah and Rivka and Rachel and Leah, and so many others. So I wanted to talk about all the ladies, but there's not going to be much time. We're going to talk on one of them, just to see the power of a true, powerful Jewish woman. So you know the famous story with Rachel. There's a verse in the book of Yirmiyahu. This is in the chapter 31, where it says that Rachel is crying on her boys. Rachel mevaka al banea. She's crying when she sees the boys. And then, of course, the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, "Beni kolech mibechi." You don't have to cry. Ve'enayich midima. Wipe away your tears, because I have listened to your prayers. There's sachar lepulatech. There's a reward to your actions. V'shavu banim legvulam. And the boys came back to their borders, so to say. The Midrash says that at the time of the exile, when Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, this was a big thing. In Shamayim, the whole heavens were shaking. You're destroying Beit HaMikdash, they're all going to be exiled. Came Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and they walked in and started praying, Hashem, please, have marachamim. Didn't work. Came Moshe Rabbeinu, started praying, didn't work. Came Rachel, and she stood in front of Hashem, and she told to Hashem, you know, remember Hashem, how much I wanted to marry my true love, Yaakov, that handsome guy with the hair pulled to the back and a leather jacket, how he came on that Harley Davidson that day. So Rachel says, remember how I fell in love with my true love, Yaakov? I wanted to marry him, had to wait 7 years. Then came the time when my father, that cheat, came and told me, listen, you're not going into the chuppah, and we're going to extend your sister. And me and Yaakov, we had signs that it's not going to happen. And last minute, Rachel backed up. And she gave Leah the signs. She says, remember when I gave in? Remember when I gave in my honor, my respect, my position, my true love? You know why I did that? Because I didn't want my sister to be humiliated. I didn't want my sister to suffer. I was willing to give up everything, so my sister will not have to go through shame and humiliation. Look how much she was crying the whole time. It says that Leah, her eyes were soft because she was crying all the time. Because she knew if Rachel goes to Yaakov, who am I going to go to? I'm going to go to Esav. So Rachel says, don't you remember that when I did that? Don't I get some type of credit on this one? And Rachel says to Hashem, I am basar v'dam. I am flesh and blood. And if I was able to give up my honor, she says, lo kineti, was jealous, so to say. So you, the master of the universe, you're jealous in a nation that came and did something? Sure enough, I'm sure you can forgive. And needless to say, that's when Hashem told her, okay, wipe your eyes from tears. Yes, sachar lipulatech. There's a reward to your action, what you did then with Leah. V'shavu banim legvulam. And the destruction stopped, and then 70 years later, they came back to Eretz Israel. So it was such a huge act what Rachel did. She gave over everything just not to shame her sister. That's a huge, huge act. And you see from that women have the power to give hope. Women have the power to do so many huge things. You know, one of the greatest things that women got as their task is to raise kids. It's called Tsar Gidul Banim. This is what Chava was cursed. Be'etzev tildi banim. It's going to have a lot of sorrow carrying the baby for 9 months and going through pregnancy and labor and then raising the kids. So women have a lot of unique qualities. And you know, when it's talking about the kids, I just want to do a sidetrack, because usually the husband is working, he's out, whatever. I know now many women that are working too, but women are the more with the kids. Women have the more influence on the kids to affect them. I can tell you it's one of the worst things for a parent to look at the kid and to see that the kid is going the wrong path. How many people that are observant and they see the child going and marrying off a non-Jew or going in all sorts of places, what a sorrow it causes to the parents. You know, the kids can cause the unbelievable sorrow to the kids, to the parents. And the wife, the mother, has so much power in the education of the kids. That's again what I said before, Bet Israel, the house of Israel. And sometimes I see now in our generation that unfortunately so many people men and women, they're so neglecting the kid. They don't want to deal with the kid. Here, look at the screen. Play with the screen. I don't want to deal with you right now because I want to look at the screen. And this is such a bad thing. This is, if you have to take something out of tonight, is just understand how precious the kids are. You know, there's a story with the Ben Ish Chai that one time a woman met her friend and told her, don't ask, my husband is such an amazing husband. You know how much jewelry he bought me? You know how much diamonds and rubies he gave me? And do you want to see it? The friend says, of course, why not? She comes with these beautiful necklaces and rings and bracelets. And she's like, wow, they are beautiful. These diamonds are amazing. So the friend tells her, do you have diamonds? Does your husband, did he give you diamonds? So she tells him, yeah, I have diamonds. She was like, I want to see your diamonds. She says, no problem, wait here a few minutes. She goes home and she brings her kids. And she says, this is the first diamond, look how polished he is, look at this, this is another diamond, look at the midot that he has, this is another diamond. The Ben Ish Chai says that all the diamonds in the world are not even worth the end of the tip of the finger of one child. This is our diamonds. And I see, unfortunately now, it's so painful to see parents neglecting the children. I don't want to talk about it, I'm busy right now. Or, you know, sometimes I go and I see the parents on the phone and the child is like, so now the child is on the phone all day long. So there's so many virtual diseases now that the children are just attached to a screen. And we have to remember that part of the redemption, I mean, I'm telling you all this so you can take ideas to understand what does a woman need to do to contribute in her part of the redemption. Praying, making the house holy, and I'm just going through different details. One of them is the kids. And then again, I'm saying it over and over. It's unfortunate. I sometimes see how the mothers, they take the child to the playground. Instead of playing with the child, they're on their phone. And the child is, mommy, you're doing great. You know? So it's sad. So our kids are diamonds. And you have to put them first row. They're most important. Their health, their nutrition, what they're watching, what they're educated. These are our diamonds. Now, there's one thing I want to touch, and this is where we're going to conclude, because this is really the point that I wanted to bring out. Because really we can talk about many great women in our history, but we want to see how women are more connected to the redemption. And very interestingly, we just finished a holiday, and we're looking forward to another holiday. Chanukah and Purim. These are not biblical holidays. These are holidays that came after. When you're asking yourself, why do we celebrate Chanukah? I mean, this should be fresh in your mind. You should know why we're celebrating Chanukah. Because there was a miracle. There was a war. We won the war. There was a miracle with the oil. It was an unbelievable miracle. So we made a holiday. The same with Purim. What happened? We were about to be annihilated. There was a miracle. So we have two miracles, and now we have two holidays. That's the only two miracles we had in our history. You know how many miracles we had in the history? Why is there not a holiday for that? Those miracles. There are greater miracles even than that. You know that one time Yeshua went to war. He was about to lose the war. Hashem stopped the sun in the sky. The sun didn't move. So he will have more daylight to win the war. I mean, that's a pretty cool miracle. Can you imagine having a holiday? The sun stood and we had a holiday, and let's say, I don't know what we would have eaten, but we would eat something. But can you imagine a holiday because the sun stood and we had victory in the war? You know how many miracles we had in our history? Why did our sages decide that Dafka Chanukah and Dafka Purim are going to be the holidays that we're going to eat very fattening food? So, must be something in these two holidays. And of course, we're not going to now do a class about Chanukah and Purim, but I can just tell you a tip that the sages at the time, the reason why they announced it as a holiday, because the second year after Chanukah came, Chanukah was in Kafei Bekislev, went till into Tevet, that was the time of the miracle, and that's it, okay, the miracle is over, let's go back to our lives. A year later, suddenly they saw, the sages of the generation, they saw the same godly light coming back again. They were like, oh my God, wow, look, it's coming back again. It's coming back again means it's going to continue coming back. And you know, a holiday in Hebrew, the words in English never make sense, because a holiday in Hebrew is chofesh. Chofesh is a holiday. But a holiday in Hebrew is chag. Can't really say festival, but a chag. Why you say chag? Because chag comes from the word in Hebrew lachug, to go around in circles. When you go around in circles, it means to lachug. Even there's a famous children's song, Uga Uga Uga, Ban Ba Ma Gal Nachuga. We go in circles. You know, the hands in the clock, they're called mechogim. So in Hebrew, the word chag is because it made 360 and came to the same place. So our sages saw this godly light coming back the next year and says, oh, that's a chag. So we'll make it a holiday. And then they had a committee, and they're like, okay, what should we eat? We got to serve something. In Pesach we have matzot, we got to do something for the hungry people. But nevertheless, I mean, that's the jokes around it. Bechlal, now it was Chanukah, and everybody was looking for the sources of sufganiot, of the donuts. It's not even a Jewish thing, by the way. I kept telling everybody, you don't have to eat donuts. The sufganiot, at least, the donuts have a hole. But nevertheless, I said, there's nothing Jewish in them. And by the way, if you really research the thing, it's a total Goyish thing, coming from Germany, from the 15th century. There's nothing to do with Judaism whatsoever. So, but nevertheless, we have to eat something. But the point is that these are two very special holidays, and we're now right in the middle. And these are holidays of redemption. Very interestingly, first of all, we do know that when Mashiach is going to come, all the holidays will be cancelled except these holidays. These holidays we're going to continue commemorating after Mashiach comes. But when you kind of dissect these two holidays, in Chanukah, there was a threat of a spiritual annihilation. On Purim, on the other hand, was a threat of a physical annihilation. Since in Chanukah was a spiritual annihilation, a threat of, because they didn't say we want to kill you, the Greeks didn't say that. They said you can live here, just don't keep Shabbat, just don't do circumcision, just don't sanctify the month. You can do whatever else you want, but take out the spirituality out of it. We want you to kind of assimilate with us. We want you can be part of us. You can take from our culture, and you can, enjoy McDonald's and whatever we can offer you. And we don't want to kill you, but it was a spiritual plan, the annihilation here. So what was the retaliation? What was the action? It had to come physical. There was a war. On Purim, on the other hand, the threat was a physical annihilation. Haman says, I'm going to kill you all. I'm going to have a day where I'm going to kill you all. Hitler did it, Machshimo, with the gas chambers, and Haman had his own plan too. So since the threat was physical, so the answer had to be spiritual. Mordechai didn't gather men to make an army. The threat was a whole year. A whole year, go and take men, start training them, let's make an army, get some guys, we'll do some commando units here, let's fight these guys. We know how to fight. We're nations of fighters. Mordechai says, there's no point of fighting here. You know what he did? He made yeshivot. Let's go and learn Torah. He got all the kids together, started teaching them Torah. That's again going back to the kids. Mordechai won the threat with kids by gathering all the kids in rooms and started teaching them Torah. Even Haman, when he sent his agents, they told him, if you see that the kids are learning Torah, you have no chance. If they're playing outside in the streets with Fortnite, you're gonna demolish them. So Haman, at the time, they were playing with the marbles. In our generation, they're playing Fortnite. A few months ago, I was on a tour in the West Coast, in the house where I was hosted. I would come home 2-3 o'clock in the morning from lectures, and then go through my messages and work till 4 in the morning. And the kid was in the room. Ah! Ah! I would hear screams. I would know, what's going on here? And the first time I was afraid. I was like, maybe something happened to the kid. Maybe he's possessed. I have to go to the room, what is it? And the next day I told the mother, I think something's wrong with the kid. He screams at night. Oh, no, it's okay. He's playing with the computer. At 2 o'clock in the morning, because he had the headphones. So you don't hear yourself screaming like, no! Whoa, relax. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I would go in to look in the room, and maybe the child is possessed. Now tell the mom, this is normal to you? No. What do you mean? It's like 2 in the morning. The guy's like 9. So, it's very funny. We're laughing from it's not funny. It's sad. I see the kids like this. I'm like, This is like where you see how the Samech Mem, the Satan, is wrapped us around his finger, and we're like that. We're looking at screens all day long. If there was such thing as aliens, and they would look down here, they were like, "This is a planet of idiots." Yeah. You know, they're all hypnotized. Like, I remember like 15 years ago when people started talking to themselves, it looked weird. Then when they started doing the I mean, there wasn't really like a Bluetooth, but they had like the earphone, and then you see people in the car like, and everybody's like, what's going on with that guy? And now it's normal. People walking in the streets. You know, there's always people talking. Now it's like normal. Now I was in the airport, I'm washing my hands in the bathroom, the guy's like talking, and I'm like, we're in the bathroom, excuse me, like, what are you talking about? And then, you know, now there's these little white things, so now it's normal when we see people talking to themselves, but imagine a few years ago, 20 years ago, who went like this? We didn't have smartphones there, we were more normal. We had newspapers, there was magazines, there was Monopoly. You remember that game? It's like a dinosaur. Tell kids now Monopoly. Who? Is that an app? No, it's not an app. It's a game. So, Baruch Hashem on Shabbat, you can't play with apps. You have to play something like that. I mean, now we're all laughing. It's not funny. It's actually sad. Sad to see that I see kids are attached to these machines, and we're just as guilty, by the way. I'm saying we because I don't want to say you, because then it sounds like I'm some... but I'm not attached to that. And you know, I also use technology. I also have a smartphone. It's just not attached to my waist. I don't check my messages 15 times a minute. Twice a day, I will go through my messages. It's not on me, the phone. In the morning, I will check it. At night, the phone turns off. Some people sleep on the phone. You know, in Chas v'Shalom, you get a message at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's very important. So, I'm not removed from technology. I have computers, I work on the internet, I do everything. But I'm not slave to it. So, not that I'm trying to sound like a big shot, but I use the word we because I don't want to say you. But it's very sad. It's now everything, and you know these phones and everything is very, very helpful. You can do so many things with it. But when we become slaves to that, Shem Yerachem, and we are slaves to so many things. 3 years ago, I gave a class, a very long class, can find it online. The title of it is Mashiach is Coming, Are You Ready? It got like 1.5 million views, affected tens of thousands of people moved to Israel. I mean, it was a very powerful lecture. And I explained there about the physical war that we have hovering above us as a threat, and there's also a spiritual war. And this war is called Gog Magog, where I go in depth and I explain how this Gog Magog can be missiles. Then we're not far away from that. You can't ignore the reality. We have a lot of enemies that they have a lot of nuclear bombs, and there's enough cuckoos out there just to press a button if they sneeze. But on the other hand, this Gog Magog, Gog, Gigim, in Hebrew means thoughts. And this war is the war of thoughts. Everybody has something going on in their mind. It's all day long we're troubled. And I like calling it the war of screens, because we're all day long around screens. We are a planet of screens. There's more phones than people in the world. Some people have 3 phones. So we are in such a danger. And nothing changed. Not in Hanukkah, not in Purim, not in Pesach in Mitzrayim. I mean, these are exiles from thousands of years ago. But nothing changed in our generation. You know what's the problem? That we have all the exiles in one shot together. We are in Mitzrayim, we are the problem of Greeks, we have the problem of Persia, we have all the problems together. In Mitzrayim, we're still slaves. Until today, we're all slaves. To our jobs, to our phones, to everything around us. To the mortgage, to the lease, to whatever it is, we're slaves. Very few people are not slaves. And then we have Hanukkah. We are amongst the Greek mentality. And it's called the modern age. Sports, education, entertainment, movies, opera. There's nothing wrong with that, but not when it becomes my life. That's the Greek methodology. Sports, where do you think sport came from? Sports came from the city called Sparta, and the Greeks brought it. If you're looking at the idea of sports, it's a very not Jewish thing, because it means one side is the winner, and the other side has to be the loser. That's not a Jewish thing. That marvel and happy for the victory that I made you lose. Jewish is let's win together. Let's both of us be winners. Not me putting you down. But nevertheless, now it's definitely not the time. And I mean, I know we're after Hanukkah. I have a lot of lectures about Hanukkah explaining the idea of Yavan, of Greek, and how we're sunk into this klipa. We're stuck in this klipa. But nevertheless, so we still have that now. And then Purim, what did they have? A threat of a physical annihilation. We have now a threat of physical annihilation. If you don't agree with me, then you are in such denial that it's unbelievable. There are countries and nations that are saying out in the open, we are going to destroy you. Just yesterday, North Korea said, we're going to turn the world upside down with the chaos that we want to do. This is not jokes. The Ayatollah in Iran is standing in front of a podium and in front of cameras and saying, I'm going to destroy the small devil and the big devil. America is the big devil and Israel is the small devil. And people are like, he's so funny. No, he's not. 80 years ago, Hitler stood in front of the world and says, I'm going to destroy now half the world. 60 million people died. 50, 60. So even now we have a threat of a physical annihilation. And anybody who doesn't see that, they're living in such denial. Now that doesn't mean you have to be frantic and now go crazy and build a bunker. That's not what I'm saying. You have to build 2 bunkers. But nevertheless, nothing changed, just that we now have all these exile in one shots. Now, very interestingly, like I told you, in Hanukkah there was a spiritual threat, the reaction was war. Purim was a physical threat, the reaction was spiritual. But did you notice that there were 2 women that caused the miracle? In Hanukkah was a lady called Yehudit. She didn't get any credit, unfortunately, but she's the one who started everything. The story says that the ruler at the time, he was called Agmon. Any woman at the time of Hanukkah, any woman that was engaged and about to get married, had to go to this man and he had to be with her, to have marital relations with her before she gets married. And Yehudit was the first brave one who went there and says, oh yeah? Here's a cheese pie for you. Here's a blin cheese, whatever she came with. She came with a lot of cheese. He gave him wine, got him a little bit drunk. She's like, hey, let's have fun. I got a beautiful Chardonnay. It's 72. And then he was a little bit dizzy and she chopped his head off. And that's where the victory came from. I mean, she didn't get a lot of credit, but she was our Mossad agent. And then the same thing with Purim. Where do you think the miracle came from? Mordechai came to Esther and told her, I'm very sorry, but you have to work for the Mossad. You have to go behind the enemy lines. You're going to be in the palace for a while. And you're going to have to, pull strings in the palace. So you can look at it in many different ways, but I want to choose to look at it at least today that yes, the women have great responsibility to go behind enemy lines in the time of exile and to do a lot of things. Now, does it mean that the men are worthless? No. But we now want to empower the women to explain to the women, and the husbands need to understand that, because if I don't let my wife to be who she's supposed to be, then I'm shooting myself in the leg. I have to elevate my wife. I have to give her all her needs. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, go to your ketubah and read what it means. Most husbands don't even know what it says in the ketubah. They were just busy that day, I don't know what, counting the checks. But the right way is read your ketubah. You are obligated to give your wife clothes and food and marital relations and trips to the Bahamas and go on Kosherika. I don't care. Just spoil her. Here and there are some massages. She's not your maid. She's not the woman who cooks there. She's not the cook. You want to cook? Hire a cook. So, even though it seems like Judaism is turning it around that the woman is the one who folds laundry all day long, no, the smart husband knows how to treat his wife the right way. That's why I Chas v'shalom, don't take my words out of context, but I do blame a lot of bad marriages on the husband. When people come to me with marital problems and I sit and look, I right away give already 80% problems to the man. I already look at the man as more guilty, because that's usually the case. So, and again, don't take my words out of context and then just say, no, I'm against the men and so on. But usually I see how the nature is. And of course, everybody, it takes two to tango. But the point is that the women need to know their role. The woman is the main part of the house. She's the one who controls the house. She can control the house. She's the one who goes shopping usually for the kosher food. She will prepare the food, that the meal is kosher. She can demand what's going on in the house. She can tell the kids a fortnight, half an hour, not 5 hours. Better not hours at all. But the point is that the woman needs to understand, and so the women tonight, and whoever's watching the classes, you need to understand that you might not are obligated in learning Torah, but you know what power it is when you do learn Torah? And I don't know who came with the misconception that women don't have to pray. Women have to pray. Men have to pray 3 times a day, and they're bound to time. There's no anywhere or any source in the world that says women are exempt from praying. Women say, I don't have to pray. No, you might not be bound to time, but you have to pray at least once a day. At least once. You can choose Shacharit, Mincha, Arvit. But this is halakha. This is not a minhag. And women might not be obligated in many things, but you know what it means when the woman does that? What power it means? When a woman prays, it's like 1,000 men praying. So the point to understand is not what you're obligated. You know what they got all the merit? Because they did it because they didn't have to. I don't have to do it, but I still do it. So first you want to take from now that women are our hope. The women are the ones who are holding the torch. So the women themselves, they need to understand their role. How important that the house is holy, the food, the tarat mishpacha, the family purity, the tzniut, the modesty, everything. What comes into the house, everything. And not only that, push the husband. I know sometimes the husband, Baruch Hashem, I hear from many women, oh, my husband is great, he wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning, he goes to all the classes, great. But a lot of the husbands don't do that. But nevertheless, the woman has to be the drive. You know, I told you already, even in nature, the woman, the female part is always the drive, what moves things around. Even in the relations of the atom, the woman part is the one who turns around and makes the engine. So the woman has to understand her role in the world, and that every little thing that the woman does is massive. Now the husband, on the other hand, has to understand that he has to provide. Look at the Jewish contract that we get married, Ketubah, ancient contract. The whole Ketubah is what the husband owes the woman. That's it. That's what it says. You owe her. You have to do for her. So the husband has to understand. There has to be a relationship of give and take. So we're not here to now talk about shlom bayit issues. We're just trying to take into consideration that, you know, husband and wife want to have a normal relationship, but the husband needs to understand that he needs to make his wife available for her to do her thing. And if she needs to light her candles on time, so you help a little bit with mopping the floor. Nothing's going to happen. Baby told me, you know, husbands are very tzaddikim. Erev Shabbat, pitom they're a tzaddik, runs away to pray mincha an hour before Shabbat. No, I have to go to shul. I have to go to shul. They're reading Shir HaShirim, they need me. Come and help me. You know, maybe grab a kid, maybe mop the floor. No. Zmanim, I have to be on time. The whole week he prays mincha, you know, if he prays, 2 minutes before Shkia. On Shabbat, suddenly the tzaddik ador. Why don't you help your wife? Make her available. She needs to take a shower before Shabbat. She needs to light the candles relaxed and to be calm, dress nice with makeup and beautiful jewelry. So a smart man looks at his wife and he says, how can I make her run on the best engine, on the best fuel? So again, it's not a class in shlom bayit and marital relations between the husband and the wife. Just some tips, because people are looking at the videos or listening to the class. Everybody has a role, and the thing is that we have to apply that role in order to bring the redemption. The way to look at it is that we're now battling all the types of the exiles. We have a Mitzrayim, we have a Chanukah, we have a Purim. So if you're looking at the Chanukah and the Purim, the Chanukah needed a lot of spiritual, a lot of physical intervening. That's my actions, my mitzvot, my following of the Torah. And the Purim needed a lot of spiritual help. That's my learning Torah. That's my emunah and bitachon, my faith and trust and praying and so forth. So we have to look at it in many different ways, because yesterday, it's not a continuation, today is not a continuation of yesterday, but yesterday I said very clearly that we have a prophecy from Yeshaya that if we're going to do tshuva and everything will be good, then the redemption will come very smooth. And there's a prophecy in the book of Hosea that if not, it's going to be a destruction. It says there the cities will fall down and mountains will crumble down. Who needs this headache? So we not only want to focus on the importance of a woman's role in marriage and life, but to how it's attached to the redemption. Because if anybody doesn't really aware that any second the redemption can come, either way, then you have to wake yourself up. Because we're not in a time that, sometimes I hear people saying, in 10 years, in 20 years. 20 years? What are you talking about? Mashiach will come tomorrow. Is it 20 years? What are you talking about? Now we live in Israel, Baruch Hashem, I have 3 boys. So my older boy is 12, and he tells me, listen, I don't want to go to the army in 6 years. I'm afraid, maybe I'll die or something. My 10-year-old says, no, I want to go to the army. I want to start shooting things around and blowing things up. And so my 12-year-old, when he tells me I'm afraid, I tell him, listen, if chas v'shalom, Mashiach is not going to come in 6 years, then we're going to need an army? Oy v'aloi, if Mashiach is not going to be here in 6 years. I don't know what army we're going to need to have. What type of an army we're going to need in 6 years? So some people, they're looking 20 years from now. 20 years, we should be sitting already in Yerushalayim, learning Torah all day long. Now there's nothing wrong with me planning my life and living in this world. But the whole mindset has to be that any second Mashiach is coming. I'm not thinking now when I'm 70. Sometimes my kid tells me, when I'm going to get married, you're going to be 62. Oh, you're going to be so old. And my kid will have a bar mitzvah, you'll be 84. You're going to be so old. I'm like, old? When I'm going to be 84, Mashiach's going to be, I'm going to be like Rambo. What are you talking about? I'm going to have wrinkles. So, and then that's when my younger daughter's like, if I'm going to get married when I'm 20, you're going to be a grandfather then. Okay, till Mashiach, till you're going to get married, Mashiach's going to be here. I'm going to be in great shape, trust me. So, the idea is that this is one of the 13 principles, that I have to constantly believe in the redemption and know that any second it comes. So tonight is not the lecture to give about how you prepare yourself for the redemption. That was yesterday and many other lectures, but to take something out of it, we are so close to the coming of Mashiach that it literally can happen any second. And again, it can happen nice, smooth, if we do tshuva, and it can happen not nice and not smooth and in a devastating war, chas v'shalom, if we don't do tshuva. I live in the north. We live 30 kilometers from Syria. Sometimes we feel the ground shaking. I'm not joking. And it's not earthquakes, it's bombings. There's such a war going on in Syria, and what you see on CNN and Fox is nothing. This is not what's going on really. There's a serious war going on there. We have prophecies, clear prophecies, that before Mashiach comes, there's going to be a huge war in Syria. It says the words Damascus, and exactly, it's a prophecy by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in a book called Otzar Midrashim. Then it says there, you want to see a sign when Mashiach is going to come? That before Mashiach is going to come, there's going to be a huge war east of Yerushalayim. All the nations are going to fight, not against Yerushalayim, but it's next to Yerushalayim. And there's going to be a ruler of the place where the war is going to be. And the place name is called Damascus. That's what it says in the Midrash 2,000 years ago, Damascus. And the ruler of Damascus, his name is Niron Mizrahi. That's his name, what it says in the Midrash. And when he falls down, Mashiach, the Redeemer of the Jews, will come. Now when you look in this Midrash, so far it's pretty real. There's a war in Damascus. Damascus is the capital of Syria. But who's Niron Mizrahi? The numerical value of Niron Mizrahi, the Gematria, is 571. There's a ruler in the land of Syria, his name is Bashar al-Assad. His numerical value, the Gematria of Bashar al-Assad, is 571. So you have a prophecy, clear prophecy, and this is in front of your face. Sometimes we see him, not that I'm, trying to scare anybody. Sometimes we see jets flying all day long. We're 30 kilometers from the borders. And sometimes when I see all these jets, I'm like, good, it's happening. It's happening. And then nothing happens. So, not that I'm wishing for wars, but it's imminent. It's any second. So the Yetzer Hara has us wrapped around our finger. So we, like I said before, don't need to do a rerun. We're all focused on the screens. Our kids are focused on the screens. Why do you think Dafka Fortnite came? Dafka now. Dafka now, a minute before the redemption, you have Fortnite. I mean, I even know what's Fortnite. That's how ridiculous it is. In the beginning, people told me Fortnite. I'm like, what? And then I saw the kids. I don't want to do my imitations, but come on. I'm telling you, if there's aliens looking down, they're like, that's what they're doing? That's what they're doing? Excuse me, those stupid dances? Come on, this is what we came to. I even know that. That's how pathetic it is. You know, a year ago I traveled somewhere in the airport. All I see is the kids like, what's wrong with these kids? A lot of sugar in there. And it's not like a nice dance. You know, when I was young, there was breakdancing. There's a lot of talent to breakdance. You know, I don't know, the twist. This is like a stupid dance. I'm sorry, I'm saying that in a funny way, but we have to understand how pathetic the situation is. That our kids are, I'm like looking at kids, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're doomed. If that's where we're going to. So we have to understand that, why am I saying all this? Because to understand that the Samich Mem, the devil has wrapped us around, that we're so busy and overwhelmed with nonsense. With really nonsense. If my iPhone is X or S, I don't even know what my iPhone is. The other day somebody told me, what's your iPhone? I told them, who cares? It rings. I can check 6, 7, 9, 2. Who cares? It doesn't matter. No, but you know, the X has the S and the S, and it moves. It moves. It does what it needs to do. And that's, that's how pathetic we've gone to a point that we're distracted. I'm not trying to laugh at anyone, not trying to put anybody down. I'm just trying to make people realize that we are distracted. Then when we are distracted, we're not noticing what's going on around us. And the redemption is coming any second, and I don't want to be caught with my pants down. And in some cases, it's literally with the pants down. So, the point we want to take from that is A, that the redemption is around the corner. Don't miss out. There's a lot of information. I have a lot of lectures. I'm sure there's online many other lectures. I don't know what's going on online. I don't go and visit other websites, but I'm sure there's a lot of others. I hear from many people. There's great rabbis talking about the redemption. Look into it. You know how lucky we are? Thousands of years. Prophets, great sages, great rabbis, nations, communities. We're waiting. We're longing to see maybe we will be redeemed. Can you imagine how many millions of people in the Holocaust standing in the boxcars wishing for Mashiach to come and end this? And we are the ones who are going to see it? I don't think people really realize what it means that tomorrow or in a week or in a month we can see Mashiach with our own eyes. Can you imagine seeing Bet HaMikdash and being like, what? Every time we say Shir HaMalot B'Shuv Hashem et Shivat Zion, every time that we mention when Hashem is going to return to Zion, Zion is one of the names of Yerushalayim, Hayinu Kecholmim. We were as dreamers. There's many different interpretations what it means. We were as dreamers. One means that we're going to be like this. What? Pinch me because I don't believe what's going on here. The other one will be that we're going to realize that when the redemption is going to come, we were dreaming now. This is a dream. So there are many different interpretations, but the point is that any second something can change. And I know many people look at me like, what are you smoking? What are you talking about? Are you smoking opium? That you're talking about all these nonsense? Mashiach, it's a misconception, it's a theory, it's some invention of the Jews for hope. And you know, not only are we waiting for Mashiach, there's also billions of Gentiles that are waiting for Mashiach. We didn't invent anything. Mashiach is for everybody. Mashiach is not for 16 million Jews. Mashiach is for billions of people. And also the nations need to be included in that. So we have to understand how lucky we are that we're going to see the change. I mean, some will be lucky to see the change. Some will not. Some might have to leave a minute before the party starts. Just imagine the disappointment. So A, we have to understand that the redemption is around the corner. But since today we want to focus about the ladies, and we need to understand two things. A, the ladies need to understand their power, their role, their responsibility, what it means to have that the house has to be kosher. And when I mean kosher, I don't mean you eat the house, that the kitchen is kosher, that the family purity is kosher, that the dress, the attire is kosher, everything is kosher. What's even in the house? I sometimes tell parents, I don't know why you let this Fortnite into your home. No, because my kids and everybody has that, and I know I'm stuck on this Fortnite because it's a disease. But people tell me, no, but all the kids have it, and the child will be okay. So do it in some type of a moderated way. When I was a kid, I would build tree houses. I would run in the fields and pull rats out of holes in the ground, and I had animals, and I built my own toys, and I didn't live in the dark ages. I'm only 44, but I had a normal childhood. I had a bike. Remember that thing, this prehistoric thing? A bike. Kids look at a bike like, what the hell is this? Where's the on button? What do you mean on button? You have to move your legs. Move my legs? It doesn't have an engine? Now the bikes are electronic. Even the scooters. I mean, in my day, you had to actually do some type of a hip move to go on the scooter. Now you're standing there like this. And I was just in Los Angeles a few months ago. All the streets in Los Angeles have these scooters. You're creating a society of lazy people. Walk! Why do you have to stand and be a nuisance to the traffic? And you're going like 3.5 miles an hour. Move! So, when you look at that, I look at kids, I feel bad. I literally feel bad. I had such a good childhood. I had a good childhood. That's why I think I'm normal. But I look at the kids now, they're like glued to a screen. They have. If Chas v'Shalom Mashiach would not come, you know how we would look in 100 years? Like this. Our fingers would be like that. What's wrong with these fingers? Well, I've been touching a phone for the last 50 years. So we have to really make a change. I'm not telling you to separate yourself from technology and modern life. There's nothing wrong with that. I have everything that everybody has. It's just moderated. It's just controlled in the right way. My kids also enjoy things, but they're not glued to a screen all day long. And it's not only the screen, it's many other things. It's also us. We're also glued to a screen all day long. When was the last time you had a normal conversation with somebody? You can't talk with people by texting. And all these smileys, all these emojis. It's like, sometimes people send me emojis, I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. Just write, I'm angry. Don't send me a smiley with like eyes like that. I don't know what it means. You have to have like a dictionary for the emojis. This means I'm upset, this means I'm happy. Like, I don't know who invented that. What is like some type of a universal language? If it has like steam coming out of the nose, I'm very upset. If the eye is like that, like, come on. So we have to really, really focus on, look at what's going on here. And the Samech Mem, the devil, is trying to confuse us all the time. And we're all wrapped around his finger. So we got to get our act together, because if not, we're really going to find ourselves in not a good place. Just yesterday I was giving the lecture how bad the situation is, even in America. Anti-Semitism and all these weird laws coming up. Now I just landed in the United States. I heard the new law that now they're trying to make in the yeshivas that they have to learn secular studies and force them. I mean, there's nothing wrong with learning secular studies, but don't think that in a few months there's going to be another thing, and another thing, and another thing, and then you can walk with yarmulkes, and can you do this, and you can do that. You have to look where it's taking you. And don't you think that anti-Semitism in America? People tell me, no, Israel is dangerous. Dangerous. My 7-year-old goes to school on a bus by himself. The bag is bigger than him. You just see a bag walking. Because we actually have books. And he goes by himself on a bus. When I lived in America, who would let a 7-year-old go on a bus? So, they tell me it's dangerous in Israel. A few months ago I was in London. I did a tour in London. Scary. I was hosted in a neighborhood called Hendon. There's two Jewish neighborhoods, Hendon and Golders Green. And they're next to each other. And there's a long road, Hendon Road. There's like maybe 40 shuls there. On Shabbat, I all excited. Friday night, I go out, put my jacket, my beautiful tie. I go, let's go to shul. It looked like a battlefield. Every shul has like 3-4 soldiers with machine guns, vests, armed, helmets, anti-terror. I'm like, what is this? No, it's scary in Israel. In Israel, what are you talking about? You have army guarding your shuls. So We have to understand the world is going through such a shift, and people are like blinded. You know that I told you. I don't know if I told it in the beginning of the lecture. You know that now in Paris they closed all the shuls on Shabbat. There's such riots there. All the shuls came out with an announcement: do not come to shuls. The shuls are closed. You're not allowed to come out. And you know what they're saying? It will pass. No, it won't, because the next riot will be 10 times worse. And now the riots are anti-Semite riots. They're not riots against that they're saying that the government is not giving them the right benefits. They're saying, that's what they're saying, that's what I read today, that the rich Jews were the ones who voted and got for the government so they can get tax breaks. Now it's the Jews' fault. That's a rerun from 1932. So, again, it's not about living. A lot of people tell me, oh, you're a doomsday rabbi. I don't want to hear what you have to say. It's not doomsday. It's a wake-up day. It's wake up. So, look what's going on around you. Because you don't want it to be too late. So, I can talk more and more and more, but we want to conclude. I feel some of you are already like, okay, I got the point. I'm unsubscribing Fortnite. No more Fortnite! Now I'm going to have a bunch of kids angry at me. One time I met a teenager. He came to me in the street and told me, you Anava? I told him, well, my name is Alon. You Anava? I'm like, no. He's like, I hate you. I'm like, okay, welcome to the club. There's a Facebook group for the ones who hate me. So, what did I do to you? He's like, all day long, I hear your annoying voice. And I'm like, what? He's like, my mother, all day long, listens to you. And Alon said, and Alon said, and Alon said, and Alon. He made a Facebook group, called it I Hate Alon Anava. So, and I was like, you're going to thank me one day. I have talent to annoy groups of people. There's a lot of angry husbands. I have a lot of angry husbands that don't like me. What are you doing to my wife? What are you doing to my wife? She started covering her hair. I didn't do anything. Have a forum of angry husbands. If I chas v'shalom fall into their hands, oy va'avoy, what's going to happen to me? A few months ago, I was hosted somewhere. I went to a lecture. So the husband is a great fan of mine. I have in the basement pictures of me on the walls and darts, like, right over here. And so his wife sent him, you go pick him up from the airport. And I'm sitting in the car like... And then, it's quiet, long drive from the airport. I'm like, Hashem, this guy is going to take us down into the river. Finally, we come into the home. He pulls into the driveway, and he tells me, every night when I come to bed, I find you in bed with my wife. I'm like, excuse me? I don't teleport at night, but what are you talking about? Like every night, I come to bed and you're between me and my wife. So I know there are many wives that can relate with that, and many husbands like, oh yeah? Oh yeah? So I have a talent to get a lot of people angry. But the point is that there's some angry kids at me. Why you told my mother to cut off the internet in the house? But with all jokes aside, we have to everything has to come with a smile, because if not, we're going to be depressed. As it is, life is depressing. So, but we have to also realize the severity and the intensity and how serious the situation is. And the ladies, no pressure, but we have our hopes with you. So you got to get your act together, ladies. Don't listen to the husbands. You get your act together, because it's all because of I shouldn't say because it's in the merit of the ladies. So the ladies have to really step it up, more praying, more Torah, attend Shiurei Torah, learn Torah, make sure that the house is super, super kosher, that your kids are kosher, that the whole environment is very holy and clean. Don't be oppressed by the husbands that are telling you, you're going fanatic on me. Yeah, what are you in dresses now? No, don't worry, you can wear a dress, it's fine. And for the husband have to be smart and say, let your wife do her thing. I always, I'm also a husband. I also have a wife. I'm not like a superhero. I'm a normal human being. But I try to constantly see what can I do to make sure that my wife is functioning on the best way possible. Could let her do her thing. She needs a day off. Okay, here, take the day off. You need a massage in your leg, even though I don't like massaging, but that's what you need right now? Because the women are the ones who are running the show. It seems like they're not running the show, but they are running the show. So the women really have to pull the weight together, and the husbands have to follow through with it. So, Bemet, what is left to say is that I hope that you leave the door tonight with a plan, and at least if not with a plan, then some type of a change in your mind. Because the point of tonight is not to scare anybody, rather to empower and to inspire. So you have to leave the door tonight and understand, A, we are the most luckiest generation in the world, in history, because we're going to see the redemption. B, we have a lot of responsibility, because we have to do something, because not all the world is working towards bringing the redemption. It's a group. Of course, we want everybody. We're doing a very big effort in the last 10 years to get as many as people possible observant and close to the Torah. And it's not only the Jews, by the way. You need to get millions and millions of Gentiles also part of the redemption. It's not only about the Jews. We have to get all the nations excited about the redemption and about Mashiach, because Mashiach is for everybody. So we gotta get our act together, and then we have to see what exactly happened in history, and how we're being manipulated now, and how we can intercept that. So 2,000 years ago, they didn't have Fortnite, but they did have different distractions. That's where you see Mordechai was very smart. Let me get the kids. Let me get the kids to learn Torah. The kids learn Torah, we are untouchables. Nobody can touch us if the kids learn Torah. The kids are on Fortnite all day long. That's why there's Fortnite right now. This is a game came from hell to occupy the kids. Why? Because the kids, instead of reading Torah, they're playing with this nonsense. Forget about now the complications after that. They become addicted to it, and violence and all this nonsense, and it's not even modest. Sometimes I look at it, half the figures are half-naked ladies. That's what you want your 9-year-old to look at. So our kids are the diamonds. And the kedusha in the house is the diamonds. So I really hope that at least a few percent of my words made sense, if not 100%. If not, then see the rerun over and over and over till it penetrates deep into the brain. Because we have to do something. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our kids. We owe it to our God, to our Master of the universe. And more than that, everybody is already on the edge. I started by saying everybody has financial problems. It's not financial problems, then it's health problems. And if it's not health problems, then it's marital problems. And if it's not marital problems, it's problem with the kids. Everybody has problems. You are not the only one. Everybody is going through at least a couple of big challenges in their life. And everybody's looking like, he's not talking about me. But he is. Because we all have challenges. Everybody has a lot of them, and they usually come in dozens. So we have to understand the challenges is not because we did something wrong. People tell me, what did I do that I deserve this? You didn't do nothing. You're a good person. But Hashem wants to tighten the rope around our neck, because you know when we operate, when there's pressure. When you're sitting on a yacht sipping a margarita, you don't think of mincha or reading Tehillim. You're just thinking, where's the next destination? But when there's a lot of problems, and the bank is calling, and this is calling, and the court, and this, and suddenly you're not giving me a book of Tehillim, I gotta read some, what do I need to pray right now to get rid of this lawsuit? So Hashem is putting a lot of pressure on us so we can get our act together. So I hope that we can get our act together. So I want to wish you all success. And not only success, that your path should be clear and come in a smooth way. We're up to a very bumpy ride, but we can survive bumpy rides. We went through some bumpy times, but the point is that this is something that I didn't mention. We're just going to add that, because we have a lot of challenges in our generation, but there's one ultimate challenge that hopefully, if you want to take at least one thing from tonight, is to understand that we lost 2 temples. We had 2 exiles in the first Beit HaMikdash and the second Beit HaMikdash. The first exile of Beit HaMikdash, we actually came back to Yerushalayim. And the first Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of idol worship, forbidden relations, and bloodshed. All the sins that we have now. We also are guilty in forbidden relations. Everybody, don't think everybody's guilty. And needless to say, idol worship. Idol worship doesn't mean that you bow on the ground to an idol. It means that you make something your idol. Your phone is an idol because you can't live without it for more than 3.5 seconds. And bloodshed? How people didn't treat each other? This is more than worse than bloodshed. But since the sin was revealed, then the length of the exile was revealed. 70 years. The second Bet HaMikdash was destroyed because of one sin. Sinat Chinam. Hate for no reason. Since the sin is not revealed, then the length of the exile is not revealed. And up until today, we are in exile, not because anything else, but Sinat Chinam. Everybody hates each other. He wears a hat like that, and he wears the hat like this. And he's a Haredi, and he's an Orthodox, and he's a Ashkenazi, and he's a Sephardi, and he makes more money than me, and his wife is more attractive than mine, he's more popular, he's more this, he's more that. Somebody has $3 more than another person, is already jealous. I mean, the Sinat Chinam that's going around is destructive. So we have to understand that with all the junk around us, we are also fighting amongst each other all day long, everywhere I go, this hate, for no reason, for nothing. So we got to really look around us and to understand what we need to do to change the situation and change the reality. Bezrat Hashem, if we really take our task serious, then we're going to be the ones who carry the merit that because of us, mainly the women, no pressure, that the redemption will come much, much faster and much, much, much smoother. And Bezrat Hashem, may we all merit to see the coming of the redemption with our own eyes, with our own physical eyes, but it should be with bechesed berachamim, with kindness and mercy and sweetness, and we all gather finally around Bet HaMikdash in Eretz Israel.